Serving southern New Mexico, this is the award-winning KRWG-TV News 22, where news matters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ben Schlittler.
And I'm Abigail Salas. The three people suing the university over alleged hazing on the basketball team are trying to get to the bottom of the incident.
They want to know if the reports were ignored. News 22's Christopher Hernandez has the story.
Yeah, sorry.
Guys, be careful.
Former Aggie players Shaq O'Dwayne and William Deuce Benjamin Jr., along with Deuce's father, William Benjamin, were emotional in their first public appearance since filing the lawsuit.
My child has been failed. My family has been failed. And as a father, I feel like I failed my son for putting him in this situation.
They are suing former NMSU coach Greg Heyer, assistant coach Dominic Taylor, and former players Deshaundra Washington, Dr. Bradley, and Kim Aiken Jr. for several alleged incidents of hazing that in their lawsuit they say is sexual assault. They hired 2 law firms to investigate if anyone else knew anything about it.
As far as the current athletic director, we have our own investigation that is trying to determine his level of, number one, knowledge, most important, and number 2, his level of action or inaction.
Former player Shaq said this is something that would have never happened last year.
And the culture was different. Nothing like this would ever happen. You know, it was just, it was discipline. You know, there was an authority figure.
Coach William Benjamin, former Hall of Fame Aggie basketball player, said that this is not the New Mexico state he played for.
No behavior like this was ever present, nor would it have been tolerated at all.
His son, Deuce, said it was a dream to follow his father's footsteps to become an Aggie.
My dream turned into a nightmare real quick, and I never expected this to happen my freshman year.
They're now waiting for responses from the people they're suing. The attorneys say more people could be added to the lawsuit depending on what their investigation finds. Christopher Hernandez, News 22.
The alleged hazing incident is just one thing that has angered the NMSU faculty. NMSU Faculty Senate is considering a resolution to send a letter of protest to the Board of Regents. It accuses Athletic Director Mario Mochia of neglect or inattention to his duties and doesn't deserve his new 5-year contract. The contract immediately gives him a $72,000 raise and increases his base salary to $425,000 by 2027. The letter says it's irrational to reward the leader of a non-academic unit that was responsible for hurting NMSU's reputation. The letter says the situation shows the university is not living up to its mission and calls for Regents to hold people accountable. And Jackie Aragon's next with a first look at weather.
Thanks, Ben. Taking a look at your current conditions right now, this is kind of what we were seeing a little bit before the show today. We had the clouds being a little bit clouding up, and then we had some wind flowing through the air as well. Now, taking a look at your current conditions, we had a temperature of 82 degrees, the winds traveling southwest at 8 miles per hour. We had a humidity at 10% and a dew point at 23 degrees. Our barometer is at 29.87, and then also today, we had a high of 84 with a low of 59, leaving our average at 83 degrees. Looking at our record temps, in 2020, we had a record high of 93, and in 1967, we had a record low of 33 degrees. We have had no rainfall today, so that keeps our yearly rainfall at 0.57 inches. Now, back to the desk for more news.
Now that recreational cannabis is legal in New Mexico, it's beginning to act like other businesses. As News 22's Carpio Greger reports, they're now holding conventions, but police still have some adjusting to do.
This is the very first Southwest Cannabis Convention, right here in the city of Cruces, brought to you by the Southwest Cannabis Association. The sponsor of this convention, the Southwest Cannabis Trade Association, is spearheaded by one of its founders, Nicole Fuchs, who after founding her company in 2021, found enough support to start organizing this event.
We've probably been actually working on the concept and the process for about a year.
The convention also attracted longtime activists like Valerie Hubbard, who fought for over 21 years and spent some time in jail, but ultimately was very crucial in helping pass the Compassionate Use and Cannabis Regulation Act right here in the land of enchantment. And like other conventions, this gives growers and dealers a chance to compare notes and learn from one another, as well as giving valuable tax and insurance information. Now, while those on the business side of cannabis are learning how to fit into this legally brand new system, people in law enforcement are also adjusting to a different playing field with brand new rules. If someone is driving drunk, a failed test holds up in court. But if someone's driving under the influence, a cannabis test doesn't really do that.
So the field sobriety test that we do, if the individual does not pass those, even if they do not smell of alcohol, we're going to get a drug recognition expert out to the scene. We have several of them. They come day and night.
Doña Ana County Sheriff Kim Stewart says right now, deputies are doing the best they can to make sure they can prove a person is driving impaired. But they don't have clear rules for like they do with alcohol. And thanks to a law enforcement advisory board, courtesy of Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham, the communication remains strong between the Roundhouse up in Santa Fe and the Doña Ana County Sheriff's Department here. Carpio Grego, News 22.
Stay tuned, Jackie will be back with your national weather forecast, and later, Chris will have the scoop on sports.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22 Wednesday,
where news matters.
And Jackie is next with the national weather forecast.
Thanks, Ben. For your national forecast, we're going to take a look ahead over into Thursday. They're going to be getting some possible severe thunderstorm weather over in the southern plains. If we take a look at my next map, we're going to see a little bit more about these conditions. It's going to start over here, over in central Kansas, and make its way over to south central. Oh, it's going to start in Oklahoma and make its way to south central Kansas. My bad. All these conditions are going to consist of isolated tornadoes, damaging wind, and also some thunderstorm activity as well. All of these brushes that you're going to see are going to be all of those very, very heavy hail areas. And all of these hail that's going to be falling down is going to be at least 2 inches in diameter. So make sure you keep on the lookout for your windows and those windshields. Now, let's take a look at my next map. Following these thunderstorms, of course, we're going to get just a little bit of rain, and then we're going to see a little bit of what the temperatures are going to look like following the severe thunderstorm threats. Over in Amarillo, they're going to get about 89 degrees with some sun, as well as some Fort Smith as well with sun as well at 91. We had Fort Worth at 93 degrees with partly cloudy skies. We have Houston reaching 89, and then we have San Antonio reaching 91 degrees. Now let's bring it back to Wednesday and take a look at the temperatures for tonight. We have El Paso sitting at 64 degrees. We have Lubbock sitting at 61 degrees, Oklahoma at 58, and then we have Albuquerque at 55 degrees. And that's all. I'll be back later in the show with your local temperatures. And we're back with your local temperatures. As you can see over in Farmington and Albuquerque, we have them sitting at 79 degrees. We have Gallup sitting at 77, Socorro sitting at 80 degrees, and Ruidoso at 73. We have Roswell hitting 85, Las Cruces at 82, and Deming at 81 degrees. Taking a look at our temperatures tomorrow, we have Albuquerque staying at 79. It's not going to move too much. Over in Farmington, we have it bringing down a little bit to 74, and Gallup moving down also to 71 degrees. We have Ruidoso hitting 68, and Roswell hitting 87 degrees. Las Cruces is going to be at 84, and Deming staying at 81 degrees. Now let's take a look at our neighboring cities. We had a low of 60 with some windy skies, and tomorrow there's going to be a high of 80 with some partly cloudy skies. Over in TRC, we have a low of 57 with some partly cloudy skies, and tomorrow a high of 81 with some windy skies. And over in Silver City, we have a low of 45 with some windy skies tonight, and then tomorrow a high of 71 with some partly cloudy skies. And here in the city of Cruces, we have a low of 59 with some windy skies tonight, and tomorrow we should have a high of 84 with some partly cloudy skies. Now, I'll be back later in the show with your 5-day.
Thanks, Jackie. The newest member of Mexico's Canine Search and Rescue Team has arrived all the way from Turkey.
Turkey sent this adorable puppy as a thank you gift to the Mexican military for their help during the search and rescue efforts that followed the devastating earthquake on February 6th. Sadly, one of the Mexican dogs named Proteo had died during his mission in Turkey. And while this little guy who has no name yet could never replace him, he certainly makes a great addition to the team.
And Chris Hernandez is next with sports.
Thanks, Ben. Coming up in sports, one of our own has a set of pipes.
You can toss that remote because News 22 Sports is next.
This is KRWG-TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back. I hope you're all having a great week. I'm Christopher Hernandez with all your sports action. It has been a sad year for NMSU sports with many scandals going on. Not even the fact that the football team won a bowl game was able to bring the hype. Today we were at the presser where William Benjamin Dad spoke about his son Deuce not getting the opportunity to play for NMSU.
And now we have a new coach and you're going to say he's not good enough to play up there? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. So when given the opportunity, he did what he was supposed to do. That's all we ask for is an opportunity. Ain't nothing given to nobody in this world.
The Class 5A softball tournament has ended, and the Centennial softball team locked the top seed after going undefeated. The Lady Hawks ended the season 26-0. But they were not the only Las Cruces team to enter. Mayfield locked in at the 9th seed and Oregon Mountain at the 10th seed. The only team in Las Cruces not to enter was my Bulldogs. Switching the pitch, the NMSU baseball team traveled to Albuquerque to play against the UNM Lobos. What seemed like a redemption game for the Aggies became a pack your bags and leave. The Aggies lost 14-6 after the game was stopped due to lightning in the 8th inning. The Aggies seemed to be struggling with pitchers because by the 2nd inning, they had already used 3 pitchers and were losing by 9. NM State will host Seattle U for a 3-game conference series beginning on Friday at 6 p.m. And it's not every day we get to meet with superstars, and I had the opportunity to work with one of them. Fellow News 22 sports anchor Victor Fierro got the opportunity to sing the national anthem in front of a crowd at NMSU softball game.
That star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
You can catch his vocals again this Friday at NMSU men's baseball game. And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action tomorrow. Still ahead on News 22, Jackie Aragon will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast. But first, a sheriff's deputy went beyond the call of duty. More on that when News 22 continues.
Let's take a look at our top stories. The university is facing a lawsuit for alleged hazing incidents that took place on the men's basketball team. With the legalization of cannabis in New Mexico, law enforcement is trying to create clear rules about driving while high. And a new experimental drug is showing promising results for countering the slow cognitive decline for Alzheimer's patients.
A sheriff's deputy in Florida went beyond the call of duty Sunday to help deliver a baby on the side of a highway. According to the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, a driver approached Master Deputy Daniel Jones in a panic. He said that his pregnant wife was about to give birth in the front seat of a car. Jones immediately sprang into action and he assisted the mother in giving birth to a baby girl. The Sheriff's Office said Jones was thrilled to help, and it was actually his 3rd time helping a citizen deliver a baby. Now let's take a look at our 5-day forecast.
For your 5-day, we should be seeing mostly sunny skies with the exception of Thursday, highs mostly in the 80s and all the lows at 51 degrees. That's all for your 5-day.
And that's all for News 22 Wednesday. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Tune in tomorrow night for our last newscast of the semester. I'm Abigail Salas.
And I'm Ben Schlitler, and from the whole News 22 team, Abigail, Jackie, Christopher, and myself, good night.
This news brief in Espanol is brought to you by Noticias 22, Spanish language news for southern New Mexico and West Texas. Noticias 22.
Buenas tardes, yo soy Emiliano Ñiguez Salgado, gracias por continuar con nosotros en Noticias 22. Como continuación del caso de acoso sexual en el equipo de baloncesto masculino de la Universidad Estatal de Nuevo México, Shai Odwengu y William Deuce Benjamin Jr., las supuestas víctimas, junto con el padre de Deuce, William Benjamin, vinieron al campus de NMSU en Las Cruces para su primera presentación pública desde que presentaron su demanda. Como parte de la denuncia, además de inculpar a los exentrenadores de los Aggies de NMSU, Greg Hayer y Dominic Taylor, quienes no interfirieron durante el acoso, también se acusó a los exjugadores de Chandler Washington, Dr. Bradley y Kim Aiken Jr. debido a sus presuntos abusos sexuales hacia los demandantes ocurridos el año pasado.
My dream turned into a nightmare real quick, and I never expected this to happen.
Deuce mencionó que sus sueños se transformaron en pesadillas y que nunca esperó que algo así sucediera. Además, también dijo que debido a esta penosa y terrible situación, él tendrá que tomar un rumbo diferente y empezar sus sueños desde cero. El padre de Deuce, William Benjamin, dijo que su hijo y familia habían sido afectados por la supuesta negligencia de la universidad y que le había fallado a su hijo por haberlo dejado vivir esta situación. Por el momento, los exjugadores acusados del supuesto abuso no han hablado respecto del caso, pero los abogados de Odwengu y Deuce dicen que se podrían agregar más personas a la demanda dependiendo de lo que se encuentre en su investigación. Esto ha sido todo por mi parte. Gracias por sintonizarnos y síganos en nuestras redes sociales. Que tengan buenas noches.